Someone paid $2 million for a flower, just a bulb, a single tulip. Then, within 1 month, that same bulb was worthless. Everyone who invested went bankrupt, completely destroyed. This is not a modern crypto scam. This happened in 1637, and it started the first global economic bubble in human history. What you're about to hear is a lesson about greed, herd mentality, and how regular people, farmers, merchants, even the poor, made and lost fortunes overnight. It's a story so wild that economists are still studying it today. But here's the shocking part. The exact same thing is happening right now with cryptocurrencies, NFTs, and artificial intelligence stocks. You need to know this story, because if history repeats, and it always does, you might be the next victim. Let's dive in. Holland. The year 1593. A botanist named Carolus Clusius brings something extraordinary to the Netherlands from Turkey, a flower unlike anything Europeans had ever seen. The tulip. But these weren't just any tulips. They had patterns, flames of color on the petals, striped designs that seemed almost impossible. These were called broken tulips, and they were stunning. Wealthy merchants in Amsterdam became obsessed. They had to have these flowers. These rare, exotic, impossibly beautiful tulips became a status symbol. Having a garden full of tulips meant you were rich, important, cultured. But here's what no one understood. The patterns on these flowers. They were caused by a virus, a disease that made the colors unpredictable. Rare combinations could produce flowers worth thousands. Each bulb was different, unique. And when it bloomed, you had no idea what color pattern you'd get. This unpredictability, this mystery made them even more valuable. Because humans, we're obsessed with rare things that we can't predict, rare things that make us feel special. And that's when everything started to change. By the early 1600s, tulip trading wasn't just a hobby, it was an obsession. Wealthy merchants were paying 50 guilders, 100 guilders, 200 guilders for a single bulb. For context, a fancy house in Amsterdam cost 300 guilders. A single flower cost 2/3 the price of a mansion. Think about that. But what really changed everything was when everyone got involved. It wasn't just the rich anymore. Farmers jumped in. Weavers, butchers, servants. Everyone thought they could get rich buying and selling tulip bulbs. They created something called tavern trading. Literally, people would gather in pubs and trade tulip bulbs they hadn't even seen, bulbs that hadn't even bloomed yet. They were trading future bulbs, promises, papers. This was the first futures market in history. And the prices? They were insane. A bulb called Semper Augustus, worth 10,000 guilders. That's $2 million in today's money. People were taking out loans to buy bulbs. Families were selling their land, their businesses, their livelihoods, to buy flowers that would bloom once a year. But nobody questioned it. Why? Because everyone around them was making money. Your neighbor bought a bulb for 100 guilders, sold it for 200. Your brother-in-law bought it for 200, sold it for 400. FOMO, fear of missing out. This is exactly what happened with Bitcoin in 2017, NFTs in 2021, artificial intelligence stocks in 2024. The pattern never changes. People see others getting rich, they panic, they jump in, and they tell themselves this time is different. It never is. February 1637, Amsterdam, a tavern. A buyer is supposed to show up to purchase a batch of bulbs for a handsome price. But the buyer never arrives. And suddenly, people realized something terrifying. No one actually wanted the bulbs for the flowers. No one was planting them in gardens. Everyone was buying them to sell them to someone else. It was all speculation, pure gambling. And when people realized there was no real demand, the market collapsed. Overnight, sellers tried to offload their bulbs. Nobody wanted them. Prices dropped from 10,000 guilders to 50 guilders, then lower. The flowers that once sold for mansion prices were now worth less than a turnip. People were literally walking away from contracts, refusing to buy bulbs they'd agreed to purchase. Some had mortgaged their homes to buy tulips. Families lost everything. Farmers lost their land. Merchants lost their businesses. The economic devastation rippled through Holland for years. But here's the shocking part. Nobody was punished. There were no regulations, no criminal charges. The Dutch government just let it happen. They called it Tulip Mania and moved on. But the damage was done. What makes this story so terrifying is that we didn't learn from it. In fact, we repeated it over and over. 1929, the stock market crash, same pattern, different asset. 2000, the dot-com bubble. Companies worth billions had zero revenue. People invested in websites that did nothing. Then it collapsed. 2008, the housing crisis. People were taking out loans for houses they couldn't afford, betting the prices would keep rising forever. Then reality hit. 2017, Bitcoin and crypto. People were maxing out credit cards to buy digital currency they didn't understand. Prices went from $1,000 to $20,000 in months, then crashed back down. 2021, NFTs. People were paying $69 million for digital art that cost nothing to create. 1 year later, worthless. 2024, AI stocks. Everyone's putting their life savings into tech companies because AI will change everything. But here's the pattern nobody sees. 1. A rare or new asset appears. 2. Early adopters make real money. 3. Media covers it. 4. Regular people get FOMO. 5. Prices become completely disconnected from reality. 6. Someone finally asks, wait, what is this actually worth? 7. Crash. It happens every single time. And every time people say, this time is different, it never is. The real story of Tulip Mania isn't about flowers. It's about human nature. We're terrified of missing out. Absolutely terrified. We see others getting rich, and something in our brain breaks. Logic disappears. We throw money at things we don't understand, betting on the next person being even dumber than us. It's a game of musical chairs. And eventually, the music stops. And when it does, 90% of people are left standing. Broke. Devastated. The question is, will you be one of them? Or will you be one of the few who understands the game and refuses to play? Tulip Mania taught the world an unforgettable lesson about greed, FOMO, and the dangers of herd mentality. But we didn't learn it. We forgot it the moment new bubbles formed. The next bubble is already forming. Maybe it's already here. And if you don't understand the pattern, you will be caught in it. The bulbs were never worth $2 million. They were worth what people were willing to pay. Just like cryptocurrency, NFTs, tech stocks, housing. It's all the same game, different flowers, same fools. Don't be a fool. If this story terrified you as much as it should have, hit like. Because we need to talk about the next bubble that's forming right now. And subscribe because I'm going to show you the warning signs so you never get caught in a bubble again. The pattern is always the same. And once you see it, you can never unsee it. Drop a comment. What bubble do you think is forming right now?